All right, so it's Sunday night Nixie relay clock progress. I got the hours all finished. Everything works fine. Went pretty smoothly. This board looks a lot like the ones for the seconds and the minutes, but I added these 6 relays over here, as I discussed in the design. It has to handle switching between 12 and 24 hour. When it's in 12-hour mode, like it is right now, the counter goes from 0 to 11, and then the second digit, the tens digit, is used for AM and PM. So this goes 0 through 11. This goes from 0 to 1, so it's the full run of the counter ring, and then it's a short circuited on the tens digit, and there's also a AM PM indicator. So when it goes to 12, it switches from AM to PM, and that's what those stand for. Um, there's a clock coming in, a reset as before, but now there's also this additional signal, which is 12-hour, 24-hour time. So if I switch it to 24-hour mode, it counts from 00 all the way up to 23, and the AM PM indicators are disabled. So here it's going from 0 to 10 usually, unless through these relays it's at 20 something, and then it short circuits or cuts off the count to go from 23 back to 0. And there's additional diode logic to handle changing the display, so that when you're in 24-hour mode, there's always a leading 0. When you're in 12-hour mode, there isn't. And so everything went very smoothly. The only real mistake was in my documentation. I got this connection backwards in my pretty picture of how all the wiring works. It's kind of a rat's nest with all the connections, but these connections were reversed, and so I had to go in there and dig out the wire and switch it. But other than that, it went smoothly. And again, the thing's very, very robust. It took a lot of turning upside down, putting in the wires, cramming the wire in there, pulling off the relays, and nothing's failed. And likewise with all the other boards. So I'm actually really happy. And so you can see, it goes 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and boom, back to 00. And I can speed this up, as you can, as I always do, so you can, and I can reset the bits, and then there it goes, and I can change the counting mode again. And that's 24-hour mode, and if I take this out, it's 12-hour mode, so you can see the leading 0 going away. One thing that I haven't talked about is when I build this, let me put it back to slow mode. When I build this, I build it a section at a time, and just connect things up. And I have this board that has the control logic. These 3 relays are these 3 and these 3 relays duplicated, and out of this I have the 2 phases of the clock in the blue and the yellow, and then I have the preset line coming out. And so what I do is I have wires I hook up to the bottom to put in the clock. So I run the board off of this clocking circuit, and so I just test each strip as I go. And if nothing works, I look for the lights to kind of go across, and usually it's because there's a connection missing. And so when I debug it, I can I pull out a relay, and you can see the circuits that are in there, and I have a logic probe that I can look for the clock, and so you can see the clock coming through, and this is the yellow version of the clock. And so I usually just sort of probe around, and then I also have a loose wire that's hooked up through this resistor, and so I can try to tickle the LEDs to make sure that everything is connected. So that's usually how I debug it, and I've gotten really good at knowing what connections I usually leave off. And you can also see here how I have all four of the pins in the pin strip, so that when I insert it, they're more properly aligned. And so when I put that back in, I just have to reset it again, and it moves right along. The other thing that came in handy was having the power switch for the high voltage, because when you're trying to debug and it's running, you don't want the 170 volts to be on the bottom, because I don't have the capped on tape on there to insulate it yet. The other thing that happened was, these are high voltage NPN transistors, and one of these guys, this guy, was a different style. So when I first plugged in the Nixie tubes, the 3 was always on. I was like, boy, I wonder why. And I looked, I have to use my magnifier, and he has the wrong transistor, so I had to swap that out. But, everything's up and running, runs fast, no issues, never lose a bit. And so now the next step is to, and of course I do have pages. I have a blank page where I have to figure out how to have the clock coming in and the carryouts going, and interface that with the Arduino, the real-time clock module, and then the GPS to get the accurate time. The total, I ran the seconds, minutes, and hours all together, and the total current coming into the power supply was, I think, 900 milliamps. And so, the heatsink got a little warm, but it was fine. So, the boards will be stacked up, controller on top, and then these will go to the front panel. So very, very happy. Imagined, seeing all these relays running, a long time ago when I started this, probably beginning of July maybe, and spent, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the last 3 weeks doing each one of the boards. And as I figured, this last board went really, really fast, because I could just assembly line it, because I knew everything was going to be okay. It only got slow when I started dealing with all these weird diodes and these extra relays, but it went smoothly, and very, very happy with the results. Lots of fun. It's what I love about engineering. Anyway, that's where things stand. Hopefully by next week I'll at least have a design, and maybe have a breadboarded system, because there's going to be buttons so that you can stop the counter, you can set each digit, and then there'll be a way to let the Arduino or the real-time clock provide the 1 hertz signal. So there'll be buttons setting, and then the cool thing will be when the Arduino gets involved and it reads from the GPS, and it'll click through these really fast to set the time and then turn it loose. So I'm looking forward to that, 'cause it's just lots of clickety clack noises. So it'll be fun. Anyway, thanks for watching.